Hey guys, Vin Diesel back to Card Fight Vanguard, I guess commentated video. So because you haven't like, subscribe, and so this time I'm commentating my Dark States versus Stoicheia, Ominagruzio Masques versus Magnolia Masques video. So I remember I had one hell of a time during this. What was the other game that this was similar to? I think it was I forgot, but there was a game where basically game one had gone really well and I liked it. Then game two happened, game two went really well, then game three happened, and game three went really well. And then as I went to go edit them, I realized game one lagged in the camera, game two had a big misplay. Or wait, no, game two didn't have a big misplay. Game two had something else that made me change game two out. And then the real game three got to stay, and then I kept redoing matches until I got a match where both sides didn't lose, or once I didn't lose all games, and my god, I hated this, but it was also fun to record. So let's go and get the start, shall we, with two new decks, kind of. One time, I think I've started enjoying more of these just because of what I've done now at the start of every video, where I'll just, like, tag it when it comes back up.
For Patreon now, for donating to the Patreon.
Right at the start of every fight, I just tag in, like, these edits that I've done because I think they look really fucking cool. Anyways, yeah, so game one. So this is not the original game one. The original game one I did actually try to edit, but it was, like, way too laggy. And basically, the important thing to note from game one, or the real game one, was this. My opening hand consisted of Magnolia Masques, Mask of Hydrogum, and after I mulligan, exactly 3 Depth Elves. Now, I may be thinking, did I just mulligan one, or did I mulligan 2 cards? I just drew 2 more Depth Elves, and 1 was in my opening hand? No, I did not. I mulliganed 3 triggers. All 3 with Depth Elves that came out right on top. I shuffled the deck. But at the start of the next turn, draw for turn, 4th Depth Elves. I'm not kidding you, 4 Depth Elves were in my opening hand, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I checked the deck just to make sure I shuffled it, and I did. I don't understand what happened. I don't know how it happened. It just did. Anyways, letting the gameplay continue. I think, yeah. So this started out the same way. All I'm going to say is this. I think the result is different. I'm 95% sure the result of this game one is different than the result of game two, because when it lagged, I was like, okay, I'm not sticking with the Depth Elf hand anymore, so I just, like, mulliganed both hands back into the deck, so this is technically also game 5, by the way, but, I mean, I don't know what's actually going to happen for each of these decks at that point, so I've kind of just started figuring it out as we went along. Sometimes I'll redo a game without actually changing the order of cards, or, like, shuffling the deck, because I plan on doing the same exact bullshit regardless, and I'm kind of, especially if I'm trying to get a certain deck to win so I can just call it a day, I will actively let that occur so I don't have to care. Also because it's fun if I don't get all the way through the combo and then I just find something new. Anyways, we're doing the standard opening play as I've, like, developed. Like I said, at this point this is game 5, so I've kind of understand how, more or less, how to use this deck. This deck, I'm still kind of figuring it out, but, you know, this is my standard play at this point. Call Skull Chem to get the marker, use this thing skill to fetch a heal, use Rune Collector to soul charge 1. I've been doing this for, like, the last hour or 2 at this point in terms of recording, so, yeah, I'm kind of used to that stand and draw, kind of predicted the Depth Elf. Again, this is a consistency that keeps happening. Ditching the Calamity Mag, knowing full damn well I can get another one. Again, I say, at this point, I'm kind of, like, gotten used to the deck's bullshit, so, yeah. Anyways, get the marker, put it in back row. You want to know what happened the first time I played this? So, I also had this similar upfield, except I put the marker right here. Yeah, I was dumb enough to put the marker right. In my defense, I played this right after it got released, as per usual. But, yeah, there goes the Masques. Like I said, at this point, I've kind of, like, figured out the deck's bullshit, so I know how to deal with it. Also, Mag sacked the over 4 times in, like, the 4 games I chose not to take. Mag sacked the over in each one of them. So, at this point, and I think I make a point during the video, too, where I just say, like, yeah, this is a thing now where Mag just has sacked the over consistently. Yeah, that's kind of the case. So, anyways, we just go for standard swings, and yeah, we just kind of push there. I know for both these decks not to take high enough damage early, but as I steal the chant from the Shinobi trial, or Shiranui trial deck all the way from back then, because I really loved the statement of evil eye beget something beget by the evil eye, and I just enjoyed it. Anyway, Soul Blast 1, let's get the crit that I know is lying in the drop zone, right? Oh, it's the heal. Was this the match I didn't see a crit? I know there was a match I didn't see a crit, and it worries me now which one it is. But anyways, But anyways, no, this is a consistent thing that happens on this. I haven't done much commentary yet, but pretty much, like, it gets all the grade 3s. That's not something to worry about. This deck doesn't really have problems with guarding unless, like, you bash and prime it the second you get the chance. That's pretty much how I measure any deck's ability to defend. Can it survive a Bastion Prime turn at 3 damage? That's my ability to, or that's how I weigh something. If it can survive a full Bastion Prime turn at 3 damage, it's good enough for me. But, anyways, we do the order search, and we just get the standard 5k. I say that's one problem that the deck has. It just doesn't get rear guards consistently, or at least when I try to use it, it doesn't get rear guards consistently, but of course when other people use it, they do. But I mean, hey, we get the Soul Blast 2 out, we get the draw triggers and heal triggers, and all lockdown from trigger effects. We still get the restand of this turn, and not to mention draw triggers and heal triggers both lose shield value. We go for a 2 to pass because the Vanguard swinging for 21. This is a 35k guard. Draw trigger, I think I bank it on the Vanguard just to try to break through. Sadly, I don't, because earlier when I took that gamble, I pulled a crit, and I was able to, you know, break through, and then I proceeded to kill Magnolia. Yeah, that was another game that happened off camera, but let's just say, because of the order of events, I didn't keep that game. Just gonna say that now, I should have kept that game in hindsight, but you'll understand why when we get to the end of this. But either way, we go for push, then we go stand and draw, and now Magnolia's in a good situation. We have, granted, no way to get more Draco Tree markers, and I choose not to use Lattice here because I need the soul in case I see a Depth Elwith right now, and I know I only have, like, I think one more soul left, so I really want to keep that in there. Sadly, I didn't get it. But now we use Mask of Hydra Gum to get the Persona right off, hoping to draw into another Elwith. Sadly, I did not. But hey, it's fine. We have a Draco Tree marker on board. We have one back row attacker, so I could have technically stayed on regular Magnolia, and this kind of would have worked out, but we would have gotten bigger numbers out of this. And honestly, after playing this matchup enough times, I've kind of realized that you just need to go hammer the opponent, especially if, like, a good chunk of their hand is grade 3s. Like, any multi-attack you can do it. I didn't need to kill rear guards. That's the thing right there, the consistent pulling of over. This is not the first time that has happened in the 2 hours that I was recording. It's, frankly, I think it's like the 4th or 3rd time or some crap, and I know it happens at least 5 times. So, yeah, I'm not kidding you when I say that's a consistent thing. At this point, it's not luck, it's just what the deck does, and I don't understand why. But, I mean, fair enough. Either way, though, we get more numbers, we just start pushing, and yeah, at this point it's game. Like, what, there are 2 cards in the hand that can 2 cards in the hand that can actually guard this. There are 4 attacks left, that was just a take in depth. So, now we go on to game 2. In game 1, Magnolia had actually lost originally, and it was not, they did stack the over, though, believe it or not. That actually went almost the exact same way as game 1, more or less, where they stacked the over. But the difference is Ominagruzio survived it, and then it hit them back with a restand that pretty much killed Mag. But, yeah, I guess when you have to redo a game, things change. But, you know, Ominagruzio comes down, we get the top 5 search that literally never fails. I don't know why it doesn't. I remember, like, everyone that talks about, like, top, or, like, for my opinion, whenever I hear people talk about top 5 skills, there are people that say they're bad because they don't look at enough cards, and there are people that say they're good because they are, like, the dead weight between 7 and 3, and that's good enough to get searches off. And for me, it's always like, there is no in-between. 5 is a good search number. Like, I will always consistently hit what I need to see off the top 5 search, and the rare occasions I don't, well, that's probably because I have a second one on backup, or if I don't get one, I don't need one, so there's that. Anyways, we get more markers. Again, this is actually game 3, like the original game 3, so at this point, I am a little bit more accustomed to how to play this deck. Still not better compared to the other games, but I am more okay with playing it and consistently putting the Draco Tree marker on the back row, not putting it right fucking here. I don't know why my mind blanked. The worst part is in the original game 2 as well, I still put it right here. Granted, I changed it before I made my official placement, but, like, I instinctively put it right here without thinking. Anyways, standard opening play. Oh, actually, no, this time I didn't get the heal from the skill. I got a front instead because I already had the heal over there. It's always either the heal or the front I grab because I see the draw fast enough and I see a crit fast enough. But anyways, we get the mark, we soul charge the front, we get the draw, we call Skull Kemda, we get a marker, we get Mask of Hydra Gum. We're now set up for the next few turns. We have 2 Draco Tree markers now. I should have put one over here to pressure more, especially because last game, as you saw, we only had 1 column swinging that entire time, but I was dumb. But again, standard opening play, call Ruin Collector. Like, this is genuinely what my board kind of looks like consistently with how this deck just plays. Like, not necessarily a Demon Strider, but at least a Skull Kemda, and then, like, the what's his name, Ruin Collector behind the Vanguard. Like, it's almost guaranteed to be my board at some point. And I intercepted this, but chose to take the attack anyways, because I wanted to take the damage. And as you see, I have Wild Intelligence, one of my favorite cards in this deck. And the reason I did this was so I could do this to flip over a card, which I thought would be a trigger, and I did anyways. But Wild Intelligence to mill 3 and call 2. And with these 2 calls I get... Oh, did I not call this... Wait, did I call Cyril from this? Something tells me I didn't. Yeah, but anyways, the point was to call Depth... Okay, so I did call Cyril. But the point was to call Depth Elowith, and then use Depth Elowith skill to create 1 more marker. So now I have 2 markers on my board before the opponent gets to grade 3 and before I get to mask. Meaning that when next turn comes around, I have at least 5 attacks guaranteed, 2 of which, thanks to this motherfucker, are probably going to be in the high 30s. So being able to, you know, combo out well with that, that's why I did that. That's why I run Wild Intelligence and why I run Depth Elowith. Granted, you can still do the same combo with Alvista and still save soul, but I'd rather have it that way. And at that moment that you kind of saw me like moving around, let me rewind it a little bit. It's about, okay, I'm just going to take a hot second, but pretty much right about when I was doing that small movement of fear. Okay, I'm just going to go up and try to find it, but do you give it a second? Yeah, right about here, because I went over here, is where I realized that, right, I don't have CB. I can't swing with the Alpin in the back row to get my CB back. So that's one thing I kind of, this is the moment where so this was right, like I said, right before I became like more accustomed to the deck, and that is realizing the 50-50 CB factor with it. Like, if you are locked into 2 CB before, well, on your first grade 3 turn, then you will have a hard time. But if you don't, but if you have more than 2 CB, you will not struggle for the rest of the game at all. Like, you'll get enough markers, you'll get enough multi-attack, you'll be fine, basically. And I just miscounted by 1 CB. But it was worth it, though. I shouldn't have played Wild Intelligence that turn by default, then I could have just played the order, but you live and you learn. Anyways, play the Ominagruzio, get the Ominagruzio I think I grabbed, or a mask, I wasn't really paying attention. I Soul Blast 1, I get the trigger into Bind Zone, then of course I play the mask to try to check the top 5 for more cards, just to hit something off it. And this is where I feel a small moment of depression, because I hit 4 triggers, but I see the Skokenda, so I'm like, I got something out of it. We shuffle, and then we do the easy Persona Ride. Now, this is where I begin to think that Magnolia's in a little bit of trouble, because Magnolia is now going to lose access to, I want to say it's crits and heals, and well, with the crit in hand over here, that's not really a good guard power to lose, because that means we have 3 5Ks, technically 5 5Ks, we count the interceptors, and 1 10K. Granted, we got 2 buffer damage, but like, that's kind of a gamble that we shouldn't really take, you know, so right now, we're kind of going down with pressure, and I call this Gokem to get more mass search. I get rid of the Ominagruzio and drop. Again, it's one of my favorite things to do. Just like call Skullchem, Soul Blast out the Ominagruzio, and then just like remove it from game. I move that back, and I call Mystic Wing Dragon, who is now a 35k beat stick for the term, pretty much. So again, I say there are 4 attacks coming this way. There's 2 buffer damage. 2 of them have to be guarded, and by the looks of this, we can't guard it easily. Now, this doesn't look good for Magnolia, and honestly, I think this is kind of where... Doesn't Magnolia lose here? I think this is where Magnolia loses, because first check no trigger, second check crit. Yeah, so it's game. Yeah, Magnolia loses this turn, I can tell, because, like, I know for a damn fact Magnolia doesn't pull the over here, so first check draw trigger. The draw helps, we at least get the numbers off it, but oh, look at that, more shield value drop. Second check crit, well, that doesn't go off, so fuck me then. But, that's, again, like, that's kind of like where the issue came in. If that crit actually had gone off, we would have been fine, because it's only a 23k swing. That would have, 5k more would have been a no pass outright, unless it was the over. But yeah, I try to guard thinking that maybe I could turn this around or like stall, but at the end of the day, this is like enough to drop, this one right here is enough to drop 2 cards, and this is enough to finish it off. So easy peasy game. Sadly, Magnolia does not come out on top. I pull another draw trigger, I pull a heal. I really wish I would have damage checked either of those 2 heals, because at least the heal would have gone off, but we've reached game 3. Now, what I've learned from this, and I learned this from Orfist, but this game I was kind of forgetting about it, but then I remembered it almost immediately, and that is, if you're battling between 2 mask decks, the deck you want to win is probably the deck that has to go second. So I wanted, and obviously because Magnolia had I forgot which game this was at some point. I actually do forget. But I know this was when Magnolia was losing. Because like I said, originally, Game 2 was Game 3. And Game 1 was originally won by Ominagruzio, meaning that Magnolia overall lost. And because Game 2 had problems, I just kept playing for Magnolia to win, and Ominagruzio kept beating it. And then eventually Magnolia won twice, 2 actual good games. And I had realized that I basically, and I didn't realize I had to scrap Game 1 beforehand. I just realized I had to scrap Game 2. And, you know, when Game 1, when I realized I had to take it out, I was like, well, fuck me then. So, anyways, though, Magnolia here, of course, after I have lost, I had thought, like, okay, I want Magnolia to win, so I'm going to have Magnolia go second. I come up with this opening. I see 3 of my 4 crits. I don't think at this point I'm even paying attention. I think I'm paying attention to the now 3 calamities in my hand, thinking, okay, so I've seen all my calamities. I can win the second I get to grade 3, or, like, second grade 3 turn, probably. I have no Draco Tree marker maker, so I might have to sit on regular mags for a while if I want to get multi-attack, but we'll see what happens when we get there. But anyways, top 5 search. This is probably one of my best looking hands so far, actually having a consistent number of both, like, the mask and the regulars, so I don't screw myself over, because in an off-screen match, that Ominagruzio lost, actually, I had basically done what Helena did in the anime, where she rode from the mask onto, she rode from the mask onto regular Ominagruzio, and then I tried to check the top 5. I got for a copy of the mask, because I already had the copy of Mask of Hydreigon in my hand. I didn't see the mask. I then played Mask of Hydreigon and tried to hit the other one, not having one in hand. I was really hoping I didn't screw up, and lo and behold, I didn't get the card I needed. So, and basically that caused the death of the deck, because I didn't have any good rear guards. I didn't have Mystic Wing over here, and I had Dragon Tree markers on board, sure, because my Vanguard wasn't a mask. I couldn't get the power off it, and I could only restrict the trigger's, you know, abilities. I couldn't stop them from guarding with them, and because at that point, the Magnolia deck was already at 5 damage, I had pretty much given up my only way of winning. So I just chose not to keep that game, because that was basic. Granted, I could have kept it in the sense of, like, you know, this is what happens when you take a gamble you shouldn't take, but at the same time, it's kind of like I had to take that gamble, because I think I needed the Persona right to kill, and I just didn't flip it. Anyways, we use max skill. Call the heal trigger from this. It's fine. Call Illwith. I always love just thinking about how people complain about the Bastion line, like, oh, 4 always makes me see a heal trigger. Does no one else play? I know no one else plays the Magnolia line in the actual Magnolia deck, but come on, guys, we all agree that Cherish is much worse, because Cherish gets you a soul if you don't see your piece. At least, what's it called? At least 4 gets the thing to rear guard, so you're not losing out on an attack compared to, you know, Cherish, who can make you lose your goddamn Persona rights and or Elder in one go. Cherish knows what I'm referring to. Anyways, we get the order. I had a lot of fun coming up with this ride chant. Sometimes I don't like the ride chants I come up with. Sometimes I do, and this is one of my favorite ones. Mainly because Calamity is one of my favorite words. Anyways, we call down that thing. It's now at a total of 20? 30. Yeah, 30, because it's 15 because of the Draco Tree marker, then it gets 15 in total, 5 for mid-skill, 10 for max skill. We call down to Vanilla just so, you know, we're at a Persona ride, we're fine. I should have called Alpin for resources. Don't ask me why I didn't, because honestly, I don't know. I think it's because I didn't realize that I had exactly enough to hit Alpin's skill to countercharge and soul charge. Either that, or I just believed that it just wasn't a good idea. Again, I don't know why I didn't call down the Alpin, I just didn't. So I can't tell you why, but I guard with the 15 because I need the attacks that I can get, and I don't want to call any of my grade 3s to rear guard. So I just take the 3 damage, we go to stand and draw, we hard ride Ominagruzio just to, you know, because I can and I will. I don't have to do this, but I want to do this because it's fun. Also, it's deck thinning. That's the other reason, but it's mainly just to do whatever. And at this point, I didn't realize I was actually out of mask. Apparently, I am, as I'm now thinking about it, but I wasn't aware of that when I was playing. I was kind of just going on with what I saw, so take it as you will, but now we're going to get the 4th trigger, where the 4 trigger is bound, and basically lock down everything. Sucks to say that Magnolia pulled the over so early, because I kid you not, I legitimately thought the turn beforehand when I had saw this in my hand that maybe I should just guard with the over and then lock down the over from the early game, but then I thought to myself, and like, what if I really need that 50k guard in the late game? What if that's what makes the difference between life and death? And I'm like, at this point, especially because Magnolia keeps pulling the over, I'm just gonna hope that it doesn't pull it offensively and just keep the over in hand. And if Magnolia doesn't pull the over by the time I get it into drop zone, then I will use the skill. But I will only use it, or I'll only use it the turn before I get to the third Masques turn, which is what ends up happening here. But anyways, we've now locked down fronts, crits, draws, and heals. So while, yes, their abilities will go off, they won't give plus 10, which is great. And at this point, we just start hitting for, not necessarily game, because we know we can't kill, but we try to just put as much pressure as we can. Hope to see a crit, don't see a crit, but we see a heal instead. We're going to try to even up this damage count, because right now we are in danger of taking guaranteed 2 attacks from the back row, thanks to this motherfucker back here, and possibly even a third one if we see the order, or if we see another Depth Elves. So we're just going to take the restand. Never mind, we guard the restand. I completely forgot what I was doing in this match. But, guard our obviously reduced shield value, and this is where we intercept. That was in case I saw a copy of... Yeah, that was in case I saw another Depth Elf, because I don't like calling over my rear guards for some reason, so that was in case I drew one, and lo and behold, there was one in the damage check. I think that's either the last one or the second to last one, so we're not doing so hot. It was the second to last one, and we go Persona Ride. So now both sides have hit all their copies, I think, of the OGs out of deck, and then they have both also hit all their mask out of deck, I believe. But anyways, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1 to get that in the drop zone, you know, to satisfy the cost of, you know, best using my cost abilities and then removing Magnolia from the drop zone. Anyways, we make a Draco Tree marker. We get more numbers out of it. We also try to search the deck for a mask, which I thought was out at this moment, and I was right, it is out at this moment. We do have more CB and more Counter Blast left. I think I use it here for, well, I call Alpin first for some reason, then I call Depth Elf, and then I use Depth Elf skill. Yep, so... Well, until I see a Wild Intelligence, I am pretty much out of ways to make markers. My entire back row can swing now, and all of them are swinging for good numbers. Now, I could have called Cero over one of these Depth Elves. I honestly don't know why I didn't. I think I was going for max power plus on Alpin, but I mean, to be fair, I think my numbers were good anyways. I start swinging at Van. I remove the Magnolia from drop so I can start killing rear guards. I thought I should have swung with the rear guard in the back row first to nullify the intercepts, but... I didn't really think that through ahead until I started guarding on the Ominagruzio side, but I should have definitely swung with back row first, because the back row is already good numbers, and I could have started forcing out the intercepts. Even if I only forced out one, I definitely could have forced out the one that wouldn't be able to intercept, especially because I think I could have intercepted with this one maybe for numbers. Who knows? Either way, I see the front trigger. We still have very big numbers on the other 2 rear guards. Swing with this, pop the front row one. Honestly, Masques' ability to pop rear guards is amazing. I know I can't kill. I can see the 2 PGs very glaringly in my hand, but hey, pushing numbers is pushing numbers. So I swing again just to kill a rear guard. This is 30. If I had Sarah, it would have been fucking 50, which is always something I like to think about. I swing with Depth Elf for 33, thankfully, thanks to my triggers. Damage check. Okay, there's the last Ominagruzio. Then I swing for 30. I think all of the grade 3s on the Masques, sorry, not Masques, on the Ominagruzio side are out, and if they're not, then there's exactly 1 mask left. But swing for Alpin. No, I do remember to add the number. I was going to say, I think I forget to add the number, but it doesn't matter. Like, it wouldn't change the guard anyways. But I remember I counted this out, and it was 40. And if I did the Sarah roll, it would have been 60 flat, which still would have been guarded by the over, but still. Anyway, stand and draw for the 3rd fucking time this game. I ride Ominagruzio. Originally, I wasn't going to put the text for each of those, and the reason I chose to at the very end was like, you know what? I find it funny that I have ridden both, because, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the match yet, I ride Masques on both sides 3 times each. So I was like, I can do a thing with this. So I decided to do it Ominagruzio, especially because I really like, I had 2 different chants for Ominagruzio, and there was one right there, and I wanted to use both, so I was like, okay, cool. Then I realized I had the 3rd one open. It's weird to, like, you know, use a ride line for the first one, then use it for the 3rd one, but not use it for the 2nd one, even if the 3rd one is the last one. So I was like, okay, let's make it for the middle one. And then I was like, for Magnolia, well, if Ominagruzio has it, I have to do it for Magnolia too, and then I did it for Magnolia, and yada, yada, yada. Long story short, I did this. And at this point, I'm just doing everything I can to push for game. This is one of the few situations where Demon Strider would have actually been the perfect card for me to have in this moment. But of course, when I actually need Demon Strider, I don't see a Demon Strider. But hey, at this point, binding triggers, I think I bound the over. So even though the over's over fucking here, it, you know, if it was still a deck, it wouldn't go off. So there's that. But we go into battle phase. Because I have to stand specifically using back or rear guards, I just swing with the rear guards first to try to pressure with the guard power. Everything has lost 5k shield. We're swinging right now for 31, so this is a 2-trigger drop still technically, which in this case is droppable. We have a PG. We have 2 cards in hand. This has 0 shield value, which I don't think I realized in the moment that this had 0 shield value. I really don't. I think I may have actually forgotten. I'm trying to think it through. Like, did I guard with? I did guard with it. Wait, no, I pulled it back, so I realized it. I realized it had no shield value, so I was smart enough. So we're guarding and we're intercepting for 15, 20, 25k guard. So we're 2 to passing this, and we have the PG enhanced, so we're safe pretty much is what the thing is. And there's the Demon Shred I fucking needed about 5 seconds too late. We do the CB1, we send both the back or rear guards to Soul, we get the Vanguard stand, it doesn't matter, the Vanguard's gonna swing, but we just PG this outright using the Magnolia for, you know, cost efficiency. We do the drive check, we get a no trigger, and now Magnolia has to pull this back. However, Persona Ride, and oh, would you look at that, wild king intelligence. So, CB1, mill 3 cards out, we are getting close to death. I think, yeah, this is where I called the Sarah, just to pump board numbers to my fucking board. And then I called a Depth Elwith on top of this. Oh no, I only get 1. Oh yeah, never mind, I forgot, because I'm not on Beast King, I only get 1. So, you know, I call Depth Elwith, I get more and more Draco Tree Marker just to push for numbers. I call Gun and Sola. A smart person may have just not have done that and instead just called the Gun and Sola and put it to the back row and swap circles with this thing so I could put more numbers out of it. But, I mean, there are 4 hand cards with 6 attacks coming that way. No one needs to tell you that that's a guaranteed game for the Magnolia side. But Magnolia swings, and without further ado, that is game over. I had a lot of fun recording this match. There was a lot of back and forth. There were a lot of spare games that happened because of divine intervention and some things happening. But, hey. It was fun recording. I got to test play with Magnolia. I got to be an idiot. I got to be smart with it. I got to pull off that bullshit and get 3 markers off, which is something I live for Magnolia for this one now. And also, I played Ominagruzio very comfortably. Like, it felt really good to play. It felt like a extension. It literally didn't feel like it was a struggle to play at all. I thought it was going to be super complicated when it first came out. It was extremely simple, which is in its own right, both good and bad. So, without further ado, I'm going to end this one here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.